This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, we now bring you a discussion on Atma Nirbhar Bharat, the way forward. Modi government completes first year of second term. The participants are Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and AIR correspondent Renu Kataria.
The first year of the Modi government's second term is full of historic achievements, and that the government would be known for its tough and big decisions that have changed the country's face.
Indeed, after a huge mandate that they got in 2019, which was actually larger than the mandate they got in 2014, we have seen the Modi government getting into an action mode right from the beginning. First, you had a momentous decision taken to completely do away with the Article 370 for Jammu and Kashmir, which was a step towards full integration of the state with India. And that was itself a very big decision that required a lot of preparation. We saw how, particularly the Home Minister, Amit Shah ji, moved the resolution in Parliament and followed by several other steps which saw that Jammu Kashmir being converted into two union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as another union territory. The idea was to do away with that mental block which was actually encouraging separatism and militancy in the valley. And consequent to that, we have seen number of central laws have been made applicable, the development process has speeded up, and the grassroots democracy in particularly Kashmir Valley has happened. This was a very big decision. Now, we saw that before the Article 370, there were other important decisions, particularly criminalizing that instant triple talaq. This was a measure meant to protect the rights of the Muslim women, and we have seen the government has been trying for some time in the previous first tenure itself. But with the opposition parties blocking it in the Rajya Sabha, where it did not have majority, we saw that the government coming with renewed commitment and vigor to do away with a practice which was considered very harsh to women folk, because this instant triple talaq war where some men were found to be even announcing their separation from their wives by way of WhatsApp and SMS, which were all male punishable. This was a very big step, and government made it clear that it believed in gender equality and not in some vote bank politics. I think that was another momentous decision. And after that, what we saw was the Citizenship Amendment Act. This was again an old commitment that particularly the religious minorities from neighboring countries who were facing persecution, who had come to India seeking refuge, their citizenship status was pending for a long time. They were on some kind of a temporary visa. So government decided to go ahead and bring in an amendment where their citizenship application would be fast-tracked without denying anybody else case for citizenship. But somehow it was given a mistaken twist. And we saw street protests, which was very unfortunate because some sections of the community were misguided to believe that this prevented Muslims from the neighboring countries from applying citizenship and things like that, which was not true. But the government stuck to its position, and this was again a very big decision. Now, subsequent to that, we also saw amendment to the Unlawful Activities Act, where acts of terrorism committed by groups was always used. Somehow the names of the groups changed. So consequently, action on terrorist groups were becoming a little difficult. Here it is amended to mention individuals who are sponsoring terrorism. So even if they change the name of the groups, action would be taken on them, which most other countries fighting terrorism had already done. This was another big decision that was taken. Now, apart from all this, the most political achievement I would say was when the Supreme Court gave the Ayodhya verdict, where decades-long a festering problem which was a source of contention between Hindus and Muslims regarding the birthplace of Lord Ram, that got settled with Supreme Court's unanimous verdict in favor of building a temple there and giving a land to the Muslims for building a mosque at an alternative site. And that verdict was accepted by large sections of the minority committee with communal amity and communal peace. I think this was, I would say, a very big achievement, and for which the credit must go to Modi government in ensuring complete law and order and peace among communities. So I think these are some of the major political decisions that got here. Now, apart from that, we also saw the government bringing in budget in July, where several concessions were given. The corporate tax was reduced for the first time to such a low level, which was described as the lowest in Asia, to give a spurt to the economic growth process. Apart from that, in August, September, the government came with several stimulus, some concessions to somehow see that economic growth can be speeded up. But unfortunately, by the time these steps could be rolled out and began to have impact, we had the problem of Corona knocking on our doors. And along with Corona, the lockdown ensured that our economy came to a standstill. So today we are in that situation where we are overcoming from two problems. One is the pandemic, other is the previous situation of slowdown in the economic growth has now reached a situation where we are facing a sort of an economic challenge. So these are two major things which are confronting before us, and that is the point that the Prime Minister addressed today in his message to every Indian on the occasion of the first anniversary of Modi 2.0.
Talking about his letter to the countrymen, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also mentioned that India will set an example of economic revival, pushing the agenda of Atma Nirbhar Bharat.
Yes, thrust of today's Prime Minister's message was, when he talks of self-reliant India means self-reliant Indians. And self-reliance always comes from self-confidence. So the Prime Minister wanted all of us to appreciate that whatever steps that the government has been taking is to empower Indians, to empower all sections of Indians, and particularly the very poor sections. That is why you saw, in response to the situation or the crisis caused by the pandemic, as well as by the slowdown in economy, the 20 lakh crore package that was announced as a kind of a stimulus package, it particularly targets the very poor, the farmers, and with lot of emphasis on ensuring the rural India is able to stand on its own legs. So you can see from the concept behind the 20 lakh crore package, the Prime Minister's whole attention is on the rural sector, making the rural people to stand on their legs by way of bringing more investment in agriculture and its associated activities. So that is why you saw the Prime Minister has always been speaking about the blue economy or the blue revolution, which actually means activities like fisheries, which are always considered some kind of an activity associated with agriculture. Because you have farmers who do agriculture on their lands, but they also have ponds where they do pisciculture. So the idea is this whole potential is completely focused on we are able to achieve a capacity utilization in terms of our water bodies, in terms of our fishing capacity, not just inland fishing, but also our sea fishing, which there are several states having coastline, where our fishermen need modern boats, they need modern fishing equipment. Now, all this requires equipment. That is why we saw in this 20 lakh crore package, a provision has been made for fishermen to go in for modernization of their boats, their nets, and also creation of cold storage for the seafood that will be generated from the fishing activity. Now, these are some of the innovative ways of approaching the issue. Also, the Prime Minister has been focusing on the dairy sector. We have a lot of demand for milk and dairy products, and the Prime Minister has been saying that cattle rearing and cattle animal husbandry should also be seen as an activity close to agriculture, and that can also generate income, that can also generate a kind of economy that will make the rural India to stand on its own. That is also an important focus that was mentioned. Now, apart from all this, if you see last year, at the end of the 5-year term, the Prime Minister had gone for PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, which is the 6,000 rupees that is given to hundreds of thousands of farmers as a kind of a money that is useful for their post-harvest activities. That has been extended to more number of farmers. So that was an important achievement, I would say, because 72,000 crore of money was given as this Samman Nidhi. It's a big amount. Farmers need that kind of cash for which they need not go to local money lenders. That amount will directly come into their banks thanks to the direct benefit transfer, the Jan Dhan Yojana Karikram, which was started in the previous term, and that has been actually coming to help for providing money directly to them, to avoiding middlemen. This is also an important thing the Prime Minister has been mentioning.
The Prime Minister has also written in his letter to the countrymen that the government is facing a lot of challenges and hurdles during this term. Now, what is the way forward with the announcement of the 20 lakh crore fiscal stimulus measures announced by the government?
One thing we must appreciate, the Prime Minister in his letter today acknowledged the fact, particularly our migrant workers who unfortunately began to leave the place where they were working and wanted to go back to their home. They have undergone a lot of hardships. And Prime Minister today made it a point to acknowledge this fact that a lot of our countrymen, particularly these migrant labor, they undertook a lot of suffering. So how we have to look at the future? The future lies in providing some kind of economic security to these people. That is why in the 20 lakh crore package you have seen, the Prime Minister has gone in for a special loan schemes from street vendor to small entrepreneur. So that is why the range of financial assistance or loan availability from a street hawker to an MSME. Even when an MSME, you can see the gradations have been changed so that MSMEs can take advantage of their classification. Today, a street vendor can go for a loan of 10,000 rupees to buy some initial fruits or vegetables, whatever, to restart his business. This is a very big measure which has to be understood. Apart from the fact that distribution of food grains and some money was also given earlier. Now, this kind of money as well as providing direct assistance or loan assistance. Because what is in Prime Minister's mind is giving cash now and then is not a permanent solution. If you have to empower people, that requires making them stand on their own legs, which is to provide them a source of financial assistance which they can utilize to set up a small business. Because after all, what we have seen, Prime Minister Modi's approach is that you cannot create jobs and say that we will give jobs to everybody. But we will have to create jobs in such a way where every individual becomes self-employed by starting some economic activity at whatever capacity and his level and is able to serve the society. That is why in the scheme we saw there were several measures that were made which to take care of artisans, to take care of different professional activities like carpenters, blacksmiths and plumbers, all these categories where there are thousands of them, so that they can get some help so that they stand on their own legs. We saw in the last budget, this Vyapari Kalyan Board was announced because even small traders face a lot of problems. Some of them do not have a kind of fallback in terms of financial assistance, small traders. So for them, something had to be done. Similarly, creation of self-help women groups. There are so many of them. So the government this time announced as part of the package that loans without any guarantee. They did not provide any collateral security. That scheme was announced as part of this 20 lakh crore package. So that earlier they used to get 10 lakhs, that amount has now been increased to 20 lakhs, where they can easily take a loan and they can start some activity. We have already seen during Corona pandemic, many self-help women groups have gone to even manufacturing masks, which they distributed to so many people. So this goes to show, as the Prime Minister says, his confidence in the future of India, his confidence in the future of the welfare of Indians comes largely from the way the people of this country have responded to the crisis. They responded when the lockdown was announced. They cooperated fully. To a large extent, we have seen the lockdown has been implemented both in letter and spirit. There may be aberrations here and there, but people largely have understood why this lockdown was necessary and the hardship that they have undergone because of the pandemic. And he feels people of this country have immense capacity to work hard and to do something for the economy and for themselves. So this is the confidence that the Prime Minister spoke, because the source of strength for my resolve, that is the Prime Minister's resolve, is you. You means the people of this country. It is your support, blessings and affection that we have been able to overcome. And we are definitely going to even overcome the subsequent economic impact that has happened. We will definitely overcome it. It may take 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or even a year, but we shall definitely overcome. And he feels that the 130 crore people of this country are never dictated by an adversity, because this country has undergone several crises. If you see right from the time of independence, even independence itself was such a painful exercise. We have been able to achieve so much in more than 70 years. So Prime Minister was actually recalling that so many things that has happened during his tenure as Prime Minister in the first 5 years and now in the next 1 year. And more is in store. And I think it's a good occasion to recall that the Prime Minister especially got the BJP to announce 75 milestones, which have to be crossed before India turns 75 in 2022. That is the goal before the Prime Minister, which calls for doubling the farmers' income, which calls for improving the drinking water facility, because one of the important achievements is creation of a separate ministry of Jal Shakti. This is a very unique approach. We always talked about water scarcity, but a concerted move to tap our water resources, the kind of a mission mode was announced with this creation of Jal Shakti mission with a Jal Shakti ministry. So therefore, overall message is one of confidence, one of resoluteness in trying to solve the problems.
Thank you so much for connecting with us.
Thank you very much.
You are listening to a discussion on Atma Nirbhar Bharat, the way forward. Modi government completes first year of second term. The participants were Shekhar Iyer, political analyst, and AIR correspondent Renu Kataria. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.